After 14 long years, 4 months and 14 days, Mike Ashley has finally walked away from Newcastle United as an 18-month takeover saga comes to an end and the dreams of Geordies everywhere came true as Newcastle have new owners. The club tweeting today, an investment group led by the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund and also comprising of PCP Capital Partners and RB Sports and Media has completed the acquisition of 100% of Newcastle United Limited and Newcastle United Football Club Limited from St James Holdings Limited. Twitter has become a wall of career mode style memes of all the new signings that they'll be making. Fans are just dreaming of Haaland and Messi stepping out at St James's Park in the black and white kits, and general Geordie pandemonium has taken over, with a sprinkling of panic from fans of other clubs who are swiftly realising that the way to the top just got even more impossible than it already is. Because Roman, Sheikh Mansour, Qatar Sports, all of them now have new competition. And what a strange blend of cultures this is going to be. Football media's fetish with money is just loving this too, but as the history of the new owners comes to the forefront, questions are going to be asked, fingers are going to be pointed, and some fans who've spent over a decade trying to get rid of one awful, unambitious owner are now having to defend a new, allegedly much more dangerous one. I'm fully expecting to see Sheikh Mansour's $32 billion pot compared to the $320 billion Saudi fund, which actually has over £700 billion worth of assets to its name. But it just felt like announcing this on the day that thousands of people already in poverty lost £20 in universal credit as a bit of a reality check. This is football gone mad. It's completely out of control now, and clearly not all about the football anymore. I can imagine the people at Sky just drooling at the thought of being able to extend their deadline day coverage to a 4-day special feature of just pure Newcastle targets. Don't get me wrong, I grew up loving Newcastle. I loved the kit, I loved the brown ale sponsor, from Ginola to Ferdinand to Asprilla, all of the players. In fact, the only thing I didn't like about Newcastle is away fans have to climb 5,000 steps to get into the clouds to watch the game, where you can barely see the ball, never mind the players. What I do know about the place is it's a cracking night out. The people are a lot more friendly than they are in London, and they are religiously fanatical about their team. St James's Park is always packed out, and a lot of people have very little else in their lives. So for that fan base to have landed on this, to have struck absolute oil, it couldn't happen to a more deserving fan base. And that is a real generalisation, but by and large, without obvious exceptions, they're good people. But what about the new owners? Do they stand up to the moral code of this great country that is responsible for ravaging and pillaging whole continents at a time? Are we actually moaning about dodgy dealings in the Premier League when we years ago opened the doors to oligarchs and God knows who else? This is already the Wild West, and it has been for some time, make no mistake about it. And don't get me wrong, I love a good moral stance, but it has to make sense. So what we're going to do is we'll play a little game. If you get a mention, then you are unfortunately part of the problem. So if you've ever shopped at Primark, then you can't really talk here. If you shop on Amazon, who have an ethical score of 0 out of 20, you're out. If you drink Coca-Cola, you're out. If you fill your tank up at Shell or BP, forget it. If you bank with Wells Fargo, if you drive a Volkswagen, if you have an iPhone, there is basically no escape from the atrocities, human rights violations and whatnot that is happening all over the world. So if you live in a first world country like the UK or the USA, then you have already been reaping the rewards in quality of life, because some poor sod over the other side of the world has his whole village bombed so they could build a factory. The stuff in the museum, the artifacts in the museum that I used to love going to see as a kid on school trips were from Egypt, Africa, India, the Byzantium, the Middle East. Like it or not, these are the spoils of war, and that is exactly how society has played out. So will I stop going to the museum? No. Will I give back my iPhone because of child slave labour? Honestly, I'd love to, but I kind of need it to survive. And you're a hypocrite if you don't deal with these things first before saying that you have an issue with this takeover. But this is, of course, the home of hard-hitting home truths, and it would be wrong of me not to speak on this. So whether they come for me in the middle of the night or not, I'm going to say my piece. There's a lot of media hypocrisy flying about, but there's one thing that I do know about these guys and what they will bring to the table. They will spend whatever it takes to be the best. I think their older generation were armed with the money, but not as informed, certainly not as educated as the new gen, and Newcastle will now, make no mistake about it, be an absolute force to be reckoned with. In the coming years, it will happen quickly, but it could take, as I say, years. When City did this, despite what people will tell you on social media, on Twitter, the Abu Dhabi ownership had amazing impact for Manchester, for the local community, affordable housing, job creation for local people, stimulating the economy. And I saw that firsthand. It's interesting seeing that the media are turning a blind eye to a lot of the other stuff as well. I call it other stuff. It is quite serious, but it seems to me that the value that they place on the money that they stand to generate in terms of talking about incoming players, TV rights, sponsorship deals in untapped parts of the world, all of that will override human rights abuses, the alleged murdering of journalists, bombing of civilians in Yemen, which incidentally was almost entirely UK and US equipped and supported. And this has been going on everywhere since forever. So I'm seeing an argument flying around that says any alleged act of criminality committed by the Saudi government, the UK and American governments have done not only that, but the same on a much larger scale over the years. So why should they feel guilty? And that is, by and large true. But the problem with that is that those governments don't own any football clubs. Behind closed doors, trade deals for oil aren't really worrying too many people, but buying out a whole football club is going to make ears perk up. The FA can't really have a go at Hungary for not wanting the rainbow flags out when we're doing deals with Saudi Arabia where they have the death penalty for anyone that likes wearing rainbow flags, if you know what I mean. This is Time Magazine's Person of the Year 2018, Jamal Khashoggi, columnist, murdered, allegedly at the request of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. His crime, allowing people to speak their mind. He's been called a guardian of truth, and this is certainly a name that you will be hearing over the next few years. This country's already been in bed with oil-rich countries whose societal norms are, at best, slightly at odds with those in the UK. But we are happy to buy their oil, we're happy to trade, and now we're happy to welcome another foreign owner to the Premier League, where, incidentally, only 4 British club owners remain. What a moral dilemma for Newcastle fans, who are obviously over the moon to have all the money in the world, and responded to their club being sold to Saudi Arabia by singing, "We've got our club back." The irony is, most fans would cut off their left hand for this sort of investment. If you've enjoyed the video, please do smash the hell out of the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll be back with another one shortly. For now though, I've been HUGH, and this has been a lot of fun. Peace.